Hey, what's up? I'm Darkbblue, aiming to enable everyone to enjoy games in depth. I'm planning on an Elden Ring guide video series. It won't be a walkthrough guide, but a system design deep dive. I hope it can give you deeper understanding of Elden Ring. At the beginning of this series, we shall start with the logic loop of Elden Ring. Your entire game experience can be summarized as three successive components: exploration, character progression, and combat. You explore the open world to find all kinds of interesting gears. These gears give you access to more diverse character progression. Then with a well-progressed character, you will be able to overcome more and more difficult combat. By understanding the three components of the logic loop, you'll eventually understand Elden Ring as a whole. Next, let's talk about each of them in detail. Exploration is an important part of Elden Ring. If you follow the Grace's guide and head to the gate of Stonevale Castle directly, you are surely to be defeated by the Fell Omen. But if you diverge from this path and explore the entire Limgrave and Peninsula before the boss fight, you can gain significant character progression. I think this example is strong enough to emphasize the importance of exploration in Elden Ring. But how should we understand this exploration? It happens in an open world, but the open world of Elden Ring is not uniform. More specifically, I mean the treasures are not uniformly distributed throughout the world. There are special places of interest, locations marked by icons on your maps, that hold the most of the treasures. And the rest of the world, on the other hand, is just paths to connect these locations. Additionally, you can have steady expectation of what you may find in such a location of interest. For example, you know for sure that you need to find a lever in a catacomb, you know there's at least one basement in a ruin, and you know you can find plus upgrade materials in churches. As a result, the ideal way to explore in Elden Ring is like this. Each time you get to a new area, you can have a rough sense of where the area boss is. Then, you explore all the locations of interest that are not in that direction, such that you can be fully prepared for the fight. And noticeably, when exploring these locations, you spend most of the time in the locations, not between them, because there's nothing special on the way. If you compare the exploration in Elden Ring with that in previous Souls games, you may find something more interesting. Typical Souls games design maps as dungeons or mazes. Along your main path to the area boss, there are some sideways where you can have additional exploration. In Elden Ring, locations of interest are such sideways. While locations of interest and sideways are the same in essence, their different appearances affect how people may treat them. It's very natural for experienced players to go into sideways and see if there's any hidden treasure, but exploring locations of interest in an open world game is not that natural. Therefore, the first lesson of players who are already accustomed to previous Souls games is to get used to exploring the open world. Remember, never to go directly to area bosses. For example, you are suggested to prioritize finding map fragments when getting to a new area. Then by checking the map, you can find tunnels that give you smithing stones, minor earth trees where you can find flasks, tears, and other locations worth exploring. And for experienced Elden Ring players, the open world design provides a new possibility. You are allowed to go directly after important items for your build and ignore other locations, which is not so easily possible in previous Souls games. Naturally, you may wonder what items are counted as important for a build. Regarding to this question, it's time to talk about the next part of the logic loop, character progression. To notice the quiet essence of Elden Ring's character progression, we need to once again compare it with previous Souls games. Let's take Dark Souls 3 as an example. In Elden Ring, weapons are divided into regular ones and sombering ones. With regular weapons, you can change their skills quite freely. And although the skills of sombering weapons cannot be changed, you have enough resources to upgrade quite many sombering weapons. Based on my experience, you can have 2 regular weapons and at least 5 submarine weapons during a normal new game playthrough. With changeable skills and many submarine weapons, your strategy pool is very large. You can always find the most suitable strategy and required gears given a specific enemy. In a word, you select gears based on what strategy you want to use. In comparison, you cannot change skills of even regular weapons in Dark Souls 3. You can have roughly 2 regular weapons and 2 special weapons in a normal new game playthrough, but since while regular weapons cannot be changed skills, they are no different from special weapons. So you have 4 weapons, and 4 weapons only allow very limited strategies. In a word, you select strategies based on what gears you have. With this design, it'll be called a design disaster if an enemy can only be defeated easily with a very specific skill in Dark Souls 3. But it's a normal design in Elden Ring, because changing to this skill literally costs nothing. Of course, you might want to say, what if I haven't even found this Ash of War? I think it's a problem of the open world design, not related to the character progression. Now with the comparison done, it's clear that the quintessence of Elden Ring's character progression is diversity and flexibility. You are allowed, encouraged, and even forced to use diverse strategies. And it's thus important to progress your character such that you have access to diverse strategies. You can find many posts and videos of strong builds, or as I call them, loadouts in Elden Ring. Jumping attack, shield turtle, strong skills, you name it. You shouldn't target any single one of them as a goal of your character progression. Instead, target all of them as your goal. The next question will be, how many strategies and corresponding loadouts might be needed? That's the last part of this logic loop, combat. Based on the diversity of character progression, the combat of Elden Ring is about finding the most suitable strategy. Quite often, the difficulty of the same enemy can vary greatly if you use different strategies. Sometimes, you even need to use a very specific strategy, be it a certain skill, a certain spell, or a certain item. The good news is, thanks to the diversity of character progression, you have access to these specific strategies. As a result, if you find an enemy to be very tough for you, the first thing to do is not to question your own skill as a player and, well, immediately start to memorize this enemy's moveset. Instead, consider a different strategy. Royal Revenant has very broken movesets, making it tough to fight it in an interactive way. But healing incantations can directly damage and stun it. What if you are not playing as a Faith character? You can use Faith Talisman and Tear to gain access to the most basic healing incantation, which deals the same amount of damage as advanced spells. So this enemy should be fought using a very specific strategy, and this strategy is accessible to all builds. Falling Star Beasts use a slow stone blade magic that is hard to time, so use Raptor of the Mist to make the timing easier. And changing to this Ash of War only requires resting at the grace and nothing more. No resources are cost, so no matter how you progress your character, you have access to this skill. If you find Giant Hunt, the conventional solution to human enemies, cannot address Curse Blade, try Stamp. With the super armor of Stamp, you can stagger Curse Blade and turn it into stun locking. Since you are already in DLC, I suppose you can buy all the smithing stones, so it's possible for you to upgrade a regular weapon that can be fused with Stamp. All in all, analyze the characteristics of enemies and find the specific strategies. I think this is the most enjoyable way to play Elden Ring. Thus far, I have given you an overview of the logic loop of Elden Ring. It's just an overview, and we need to fill it with more detailed content. In my future videos, I'll start with combat. By analyzing combat, we'll know what strategies might be required throughout the entire game, and this information can guide us how to progress our character in a diverse way. And in the end, the goal of character progression can tell us what gears are and are not needed, making exploration more purposeful. I will be making many videos about combat and a few videos about progression and exploration. In this way, I believe I can say we are playing Elden Ring in depth. If you want to join me into depth of games, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.